The bandsaw is an amazing tool, but have you ever wondered how to cut thin, wavy, curvy work like this? Stick around. All right, welcome to Canterbury, New Hampshire. This is Shop Night Live. I'm Tom McLaughlin, and there's the camera lady.
Hey, everybody.
Marvelous
Good
camera lady
evening.
behind the camera. And tonight is special for two very important reasons. One, we have with us a live studio audience. Wow, that was raucous.
Wow, they made their presence known.
Yeah,
Goodness.
that wasn't even fake like that.
That's awesome.
But the other special reason, note for tonight is our 300th Shop
Crazy.
Night Live episode.
Crazy.
Can you believe it? Wow.
I cannot.
And we've got all kinds of topics archived, but how do people even see those? Like,
On our YouTube channel, just go and you can totally binge watch. And
what about possibly an index?
there is an index actually in the description below. You can go to an index that has all of the list of the topics, and you can actually search the page if you have a word that you want to find. In the neighborhood, which is our membership community, we have a much more engaging, involved, and deeper dive index as well that is all topically categorized, and you can search any of those as well as our courses there. But for those of you who are not in the neighborhood, join us there or go to that index that's in the description below.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. Tonight, I want to share with you something we're actually about to do in this class tomorrow. This live studio audience didn't just show up. They've been here all week long. We're going into our 5th of 5 days together, making what we're calling the contemporary dining chair. And what makes it special is that there's a lot more challenging curves and nuances about it that rises it from the basic craftsman dining chair that we have in our list of courses. But one of the features that we have to pull off tomorrow, if we can handle it, I know we can, is, yes I can, is to saw a dynamic type curve for our back splat or our backrest. So it'll give us lower lumbar support and then sweep up to more comfortably support your back. So some of that is inspired by this Queen Anne chair. This is a classic Queen Anne chair design. Lots more. This is a more advanced chair. We do not have this yet as a course or plans or video, but who knows? Coming soon if there's enough interest. But I want you to check out this splat. Look how dynamic curved that is. And this technique that I'm going to show you tonight was executed by using, this was made by using this technique. So it's actually measures close to 6 inches wide. I think it's 5.5, yep. And it's a 1/2 inch thick. Very common for splats or backrests of 18th century furniture. This chair here, this is actually very similar to our contemporary dining chair that we're making, except we're losing these two outside slats to lighten up the back a little bit. And we have this same similar curve. I've added a little bit of extra to the lower back support because it always felt like it needed just a little more. So, I mean, it's like 1/8 of an inch, but makes a difference. So that's what we're going to be doing. But I want to show you this because this can open up all kinds of interesting options and techniques that you might want to include in your woodworking. And the way I do it is to make a fence, a pivoting fence, where you can saw parallel lines in curve rather than just dead straight. Check out this. This is a fence from a Rikon 14-inch bandsaw that I got recently. Very interesting, a very high fence, great for resawing, but it comes with this pivoting bar that you can adjust on the fence, and it's pretty cool because it saves you making one if you're going to make shallower curves. Like I could probably pull this off using on this curve, but for a more dynamic curve like this, it's not large enough. You need a larger one coming off there. And why not make your own anyway? That's what we like doing, right? So if you don't have an aftermarket, if you have a saw, maybe an old saw, you're not gonna have one of those on there, so you wanna make your own. The way I do it is simply with a piece of material. I start out with something roughly, this is about 1.25 inches thick. Excuse me. If it's thick enough, it will secure more easily to the backer board, and it also give you more stability for the cut. So what I'll do is just cut an angle cut on each side here to leave me with an edge kind of to ride against. So I'm just gonna, rather than make a 45-degree line, I'm just gonna eyeball this, and let's say this is the center. It doesn't really matter if I hit the exact center, but I'll just come back each direction with approximately a 45-degree line. Let's go over to the bandsaw and saw this off. Get the dust collector on and our safety gear. Here we go. All right, so there we have the pivoting point. Rather than a round beam, we've actually created this ridge with these angular setbacks. So one of the important things about this piece of material is that it be square. So see, it's nice and square, right off of the absolutely square crosscut sled that you can learn more about. Why don't you tell them more about that, Johnny? What is, we have a video, right? Making a crosscut sled?
Actually, it's right at our YouTube channel. If you go there, Epic Woodworking YouTube channel, it's your entry video there, I believe, that greets you. 3-cut method.
Yes.
Making a crosscut sled.
Right, and it's super handy to have a reliable sled that cuts something square, and it's really important with this part. So you want this square, and of course the back is square as well. So once you have that beam there, you could clean it up a little bit with a block plane, but I try to leave that edge out on the front. Let me just use this. This is just narrowing up the beam that it's going to ride on. And then you can sand it a little bit and get one of these sanding blocks. And I'm going to just sort of radius this slightly. So I'm left with nearly between a 16th and an 1/8 inch kind of burnished point. Now, one thing I want to note is this is end grain we're going to be bearing against. It's tougher, it's stable, and it gives you a nice kind of burnished surface to ride against, and it'll last you a lot longer. Now, you can make them a lot of different sizes. This one happens to be 4 inches deep, so that gives you plenty of room if you want to get crazy and make some really dynamic curves in wood. It also, the height is significant because you're able to resaw quite thick material at curves, and this one happens to be 4.5 inches high. I'm not going to put the whole thing together, but what you would do is at this point, I like to put it on a backer board. This is just 1/2 inch, like Baltic birch type ply, and because it's square, I just flush it up, get it about mid-height, and then pre-drill and run a couple screws there. This one's already done. It's a little shorter, and it's against some 3/4 inch plywood, which would probably be even more sturdy. So whatever you got, just make it work like that. Now, this is another version that I made some time ago, and I put some blocks in there as reinforcement. It was higher, but I remember I was on someone else's bandsaw, and for some reason I had to notch it down. It really broke my heart to do that, but it's a little shorter. But so you can make them taller for this application. All right, well, let's see them at work. Before I cut these, I want to first cut the initial curve to establish our curve that we're going to saw parallel to. And to do that, I'm going to use the actual contemporary chair curve for our front. So I'm going to set it on this piece of material. Our backsplat on this chair happens to be 3.5 inches wide. So this material will be great. I should be able to get 2 cuts out of it, one to get the center splat, and then the second one will give me enough to get those side slats and then some. So I'm just going to set it right about there.
We should mention that we just had delivered contemporary dining chair plans. So those are going to be available very soon on our website. That chair that Tom just showed you, we will have plans for.
Yeah, and I'll have the latest version that will be ready, that I'm sawing this curve. So you'll actually be able to get this exact curve from the drawings amongst many other parts and shapes and legs and all of that. All right, so I've got the initial curve there. I actually have location for tenons to transfer over from the pattern, so I should do that now. I'm not going to actually, well, I may actually use this tomorrow, who knows, but that's going to be our lower and upper tenons. So I'm going to saw this, and then we'll saw a parallel line. So let's go ahead, back to the bandsaw. Okay, in case you're wondering, that is a 1/2 inch, 3 tooth per inch bandsaw blade.
That question did come up.
On the Felda 510. So I've got that curve, but before I go and duplicate that curve, it would be smart to just smooth it a little bit if I've got any little bumps or wavers and invariably there's a little bit you want to clean up. So running my hand this way, I can feel there's one right there. I can feel a little bit there. So I'm going to just quickly clean that up with a spoke shave, I think. If I can, down here. I'm just going to keep it kind of flat. That feels good. Now the grain is switching right here. So I could turn the piece around, or I could go around and bump into the camera lady, but I think I'll do this. Now I can feel a bump right there, so I'll just hit that. The rest feels pretty smooth, so let's just go with it. I got this one little indent. All right, that feels pretty good. So this is going to be the front of our back splat. Nice. All right, that feels nice. Now you could hard scrape it a little smoother, which would give you less to do later. Let me see if I got my edge on this one. All right, that's feeling pretty smooth already. So now I'm ready to duplicate this cut. So nice and smooth, and I can now set up my special pivot point fence. So let's go back to the bandsaw. And this is really simple because you can just clamp it to your existing fence on your bandsaw. So I'm going to move my fence for 1/2 inch spacing. What do you know? That looks good right there. And I want to slide my pivot fence about just ahead of the teeth, maybe 1/8 of an inch. So it's just ahead. I'm actually using that to bear on and to steer through the cut. And so it's best that it's a little ahead of the teeth. So here we go. I'm going to clamp this on. All I got to do is clamp it on without moving it. Hang on a second. Okay, that looks good there. Okay, how's that look? You could check it out. Beautiful. For squareness. It's okay to go now? Mm-hmm. All right, I think that'll work. So here's the trick. I'm going to feed a curved part against a singular point, a vertical rail. So to do this and get a parallel cut, I have to see that what's entering the saw blade is pretty parallel with the body of the blade right before the cut. So I'm sighting along the edge of my pivot point, right along the top of the work, seeing that it's aligning straight across the table into the blade. So even as I'm moving, I can kind of practice this. Say, okay, I'm going to be rolling it like this because I'm trying to keep this straight entering in while it's bearing. And then when it starts to come back, I have to turn my hand a little bit and just try to keep this true. And if I do that, I should end up with a nice parallel cut. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. That was easy. Look at how tight that fits back. It's almost like you could glue that back on. But it's just a beautiful parallel panel that has the same curve. And what's great about it is if I put my template back to the next part, it feels very close, and I can actually clean up this surface and run again. So there's very little wasted material if you nest them together in that way. Now, so that's going to be possibly a chair back. Pretty nice, huh? Now, I couldn't resist just making for fun a part with a little more curvature, and it starts you thinking about what you might be able to make besides just a lower lumbar chair back. So we've got this funky piece here, and this is sawn off of this part. So I just made an initial saw cut, cleaned up the surface a bit. Isn't that cool how you get those growth ring lines? It looks almost like a topographical map. So I'm gonna let's set it a little thinner and see if we can get that funky cut easily. Here we go. I'm gonna move the fence and just slide it directly over. I wonder how thin we should go. How about there? This might make an interesting, who knows what. Maybe you can come up with something. Oh, you may see those sparks there just from the ceramic backer thrust bearing there. I don't know why I moved it back, but still getting it. But here we go. Again, you have this really nice seam, and again, we have a beautiful parallel piece. So think of the possibilities. Look at that. This is, how thick is this? It looks like 9/32, if I was to be a nerd about it. And I'm going to be a nerd about it. All right, so there we go. Here's our other part, very similar. What can we do with this? So, okay, there it is. I guess you could make a ukulele. I don't know. You could make a funky box or some kind of serving tray with 2 more parts, right? Rip them narrower. I mean, I'm not joking around. There are a lot of great applications for this. Seriously, I think you could make some funky shelves or artful wall hangings. Yeah. Or light bars, like maybe you could drop pendant lights off of this, in your kitchen.
Waves on the wall.
Waves on the wall. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Create something.
No, why not waves on a wall?
Waves on a wall.
Why not?
Hey, Tom, what brand is that blade? Is that a Timberwolf?
Yes, it is a Timberwolf, the 1/2 inch. It's their spring steel. I mean, it's the common bandsaw blades you can get there. So, it's affordable,
Great.
I did say that was the Felda 510, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Little plug for Felda.
We put the link in the description too.
All right. So there you have it. A nice method for making your own push point fence, and you can go crazy and impress all your friends and neighbors with the curves you can cut. Are there any other questions before?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us for a little bit of your time here this evening. We've enjoyed it, and you know, we've especially enjoyed having a live studio audience. Thank you. They are out of control. Well, and we're so glad you stuck in here with us. And if you do enjoy this content, please consider liking, sharing, and of course, subscribing. And check out epicwoodworking.com, where you can find out about all the courses, the plans for a chair like this, and also for the Neighborwood, the exciting membership platform that we have
I'd
here.
love to see you there. Yeah.
All right. Well, on behalf of the camera lady and myself, we look forward to seeing you next time, right back here on Shop Night Live. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
I had to do it. Sorry.
See you next week.
I had to